Hal, I see a pensive look on your face.
Well, no, I mean, I agree with all of it. And, yeah, I've watched a couple Bantam fall, it's August, but games this last week. I was on the bench for one and I was in the stands for another one. And these kids they go off and play all these games in the off season with zero coaching and zero structure. And the second game I watched, these were our kids on one team from our program, and there were only 9 kids total. And there's nothing good happening out there at all. And and there's 2 coaches, one standing on each end of the bench, and their parents, and they say nothing, which is probably okay, actually, because I don't think they know what to say. But when I've noticed here in Minnesota that the size of teams continues to get smaller to where you've only got 12 or 13 skaters, and so it creates problems in terms of how do you play the kids. I mean, a lot of that was done to keep the short bench syndrome away, because you barely have enough players to play a full game. You might have 2 lines and 3 or 4 defensemen. And oh, by the way, if you have 4 defensemen, 2 of them never played defense before. They just ended up, that's where they end up. And they don't have any, I mean, here they are at what, 14 Bantams, I guess. They don't have any basic understanding of the structure of the game. Greg says low and slow. I like that for the centers, because that's what we teach. You got to be behind the puck, not having your ass pointed at your winger as you're racing up ice, because even if you get the pass, you're going to get lit up. And I think it's just super hard as winter coaches, and if you're pretty good at this, you have to retrain the kids at the beginning of every season, because they've had so many bad habits developed in the off season. And I have a couple of my players were on the first game, and one's a defenseman, and he loves to take that puck out of the D zone and start stick handling his way up the ice. And he gets by the first guy, maybe the second guy, third guy always gets him. And it's a turnover out in neutral ice, and he does it over and over and over. We talk about it, and I finally just said, how high can you count? Well, I can count a long way. I go, well, can you count to 2? Yep, I can count to 2. When you hit 2, the puck needs to leave your stick and go somewhere else. And, because he just, and he played for me last year. I mean, it's an ongoing habit that you have to break. And yet, as a winter coach, I have way less time to do it than they have time to not do it right. That makes sense. They have spring hockey, they have summer hockey, they have fall hockey. And then here comes the winter. And they get away with so many bad habits along the way. And, and when they're 13 and 14, they don't really, I'll ask the coach, how was the game last night? Well, we lost, 3-1. That's not the answer I'm looking for. Because it doesn't matter. I said, who are we playing? He goes, well, I don't know, a team from Maple Grove. Well, what level? I mean, there's no, so I go and watch, and it's a little frustrating because what we're trying to put kids into an environment where they are thinking about what's going on out there. But most of them, or for a lot of the kids, they don't see very much of the game. They don't watch hockey. I'm trying to figure out, that Power Player app that I shared with. Who shared that with us? Was that
I did.
Yeah, so I'm working with those guys, and we're going to put video clips out to the kids to watch. But my experience from the last 3 years is maybe half of them will look at them, maybe. And then we come back the next day, and I'll say, "Who watched that video? What'd you see in that video?" Well, half the kids didn't even look at it. So their attention is they're so pulled in so many different directions. So I'm just kind of rambling around. I mean, it is it's what makes coaching so interesting, is being able to solve some of these teaching and creating the right kind of environment so the kids can learn. And it is okay to be wrong. It's okay. I mean, every shift, there's something happens in every shift. As Tom says, the answer's in the net. But I love that. That was so great.
I got a story for Hal.
Yeah.
So World War I, they called him the someone's got a thing going. They call it the third cigarette rule. So you never pass the third cigarette.
Yeah.
First time you light up, the sniper on the other side sees, okay, there's someone out there. Second guy takes a puff. All right, now we can see where the group is. Third guy takes a puff and he gets his head shot off. Same thing with our defense and beating that first guy, second guy, and the third one's the one where it's the puck taken off him. We call it the third cigarette. It's amazing how that's no matter where you go, someone has that. And then Peter, a little bit to you before I kick it off or kick it back to you. So I love club hockey. It's getting really good, by the way, too, as you're probably well aware of. But I used to be at the University of Akron helping out there, and I helped with the recruiting, and I would see Pittsburgh, Cleveland, and Columbus. And Pittsburgh, you can play club and high school all in one go. Does not matter. So those kids are playing like 80 games a year. It's unbelievable. They play high school during the week. They play their travel teams during the weekend. Ton of games. It's like the pattern recognition, and we'll say like the hockey IQ was off the charts for those kids, but they were almost always physically underdeveloped from a capability there. Then I would see Columbus kids, which in Ohio, you can only have club or high school. So they'd be in great physical condition, fantastic. They'd have like the ability to pull off any skill that you wanted, but they just had no idea how to play the game. And then I'd go to Cleveland, which is kind of in the middle, and they'd have like a mix of the two. So I would be like at these different events, and I could tell like where a player pretty much was from based on just watching how they played the game between like the three cities. If there was it was truly amazing. So